Who will you be voting for this upcoming election in 2025?
There's a lot of housing crisis and problems with food affordability that
I've seen the police sitting in parking lots watching half of this shit go down. Yeah, man, dude, go to the Big B.
And what do you think has caused for things to be unstable in the city?
A liberal government.
Believe in bettering the community in an economic aspect. I'm tired of being taxed.
Who will you be voting for in 2025?
Waiting for Polyev to be elected and change things around.
In your opinion, I have a personal question.
Yeah.
What's your take on the average Canadian nowadays? You know, coming from a young man, I can tell you a young guy, not being able to get a job. What's your take on that? How does that make you feel as a young Canadian?
Government's not doing enough. Could do more.
Yeah.
You know, especially like I'm all for opening up the borders to refugees and stuff, but then
there's no actual action that's being taken by our city officials, by politicians and the government.
Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, we are in St. Catharines, Ontario. This is another liberal city. In today's video, we're going to be going around asking the local Canadians who they will be voting for this upcoming election in 2025. We know a lot of things have changed in this country. That also means people's mindsets have changed, the way they view the other parties. Let's go talk to the locals, hear out the opinions on who they'll be voting for. And also, before we get into the video, just like I always say, this is one of many election videos I'll be dropping on this channel until 2025. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out for any future videos just like this. But anyways, let's go talk with the locals. Who will you guys be voting for with this upcoming election in 2025?
Am I the only one that can vote?
Yeah.
And I don't even know.
You don't even know?
Probably somewhere between NDP and Liberals.
NDP or Liberal?
Yeah.
Why do you say them?
I think I voted Liberal in the past, so I might just kind of stick to that now on, but I definitely do need to find out a bit more before I vote.
What's your take on Justin Trudeau? Since, you know, he's a leader of the Liberals.
I don't know.
Where would you say that we're heading as a country, in your opinion, with the way things have, you know,
I'm
changed?
so sorry. I can't answer any more questions.
Oh, you can't?
Shut off work. I don't
All
want
right.
to talk about this anymore.
All right, no worries, no worries, no worries. What's your take with the way things have changed in Canada?
government's not doing enough. Could do more.
Yeah.
You know, especially like I'm all for opening up the borders to refugees and stuff, but then they don't really put a structured plan when they get here. So then a lot of them end up homeless, and that increases drug problem, homelessness, right? So, the government can always be doing more, and that's on one of the topics that I see it here.
Yeah.
You know, just walking around downtown, you see it's kind of like The Walking Dead. So, yeah.
With this coming up election, who do you think is the right person to step in there and make a change?
NDP.
NDP? So Jagmeet Singh?
Yeah, I like Jagmeet. Can never go conservative for me, and I can't deal with Justin Trudeau anymore. So it's always the lesser of the evils, right? You don't have much of a choice. You just kind of got to pick who's not the worst. So everyone's in bed with somebody, but Jagmeet Singh's got to be in bed with the less amount of people. So I'd go with him.
Well, what's your take on, since I know you just said you're not really with Justin Trudeau or Pierre Poilievre, what's your take on them?
Justin Trudeau's just not really well-educated, well-rounded for the job. I don't know how he stayed in this long. Pierre Poilievre's, you know, got some, I want to say racist policies and, you know, some pretty disturbing policies that if actually took effect, it's like, okay, that's extremely concerning for people's rights and, you know, their rights and freedoms, which, you know, Canada, it's like we got to protect that shit. So
No, since Justin Trudeau has been Prime Minister, have you seen any negative effects in your community?
it's hard to tell, like, if it's a direct correlation of him being in office or not. You know, taxes have gone up, price of gas has gone up, but that's all over the world. So it's hard to say. Hard to answer that one for sure.
What's it like living in St. Catharines?
It's not too bad, depending on where you are. I mean, there's pockets of good and bad in every city. I enjoy it. I'm from the Old Glen Ridge neighborhood over by Brock. I went to Brock University, so I've had a mostly positive experience here. Megan?
I just moved here recently, the past like 3 years, and it's been an off and on experience. There's a lot of homelessness in the city. There's a lot of housing crisis and problems with food affordability that I feel like are not really addressed. But in contrast to that, there's a lot of like thriving artistic endeavors in St. Catharines, and there's a lot of really good people that are trying to create positive change and impact. So it's good and bad.
Would you say this is a community that has love in it?
I'd say so. So there's lots of different community initiatives down here. For example, there's like the Niagara Arts Center just down the street, which has a good little community around it. I know Megan's involved with that. There's pockets of community and love with around. For example, I volunteer a lot at a private school down the street called Ridley.
Yeah.
For example, they're doing a cross country run today, and it's great to see, especially teachers involved.
Yeah.
So with education, teachers sticking around after school and being involved really makes me happy. So I'd say on the most part, yes.
Yeah. Anything you want to add on that, my friend?
Yeah, I would just say that the arts community is really thriving in St. Catharines. So, like, you've got the NAC down the street, you've got the Performing Arts Center. There's tons of fundraisers that are always happening around the city, and it's St. Catharines is a really good place for struggling people to help other people. Everyone understands what hardship's like here. Everyone's grown up having to hustle a little bit, so you always get people who are going to be able to relate to you, and in times where you really need them and you need that support, there's always an outlet for you. So
I like that. That's awesome.
Good spot for young people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say a lot of young people around here, being a university town, it's a good demographic of people. So
Yeah. You said you went to Brock, right?
yeah, graduated 2021.
That's cool. There's a saying that, I'm not trying to diss Brock, but there's a saying that people say that they say, like, if you can walk and talk, you can go to Brock.
Yeah.
What's your thought on that take? Is that
You know
true?
what? It's depending on what you're taking at school. It's going to be if you're doing like a general arts degree, it's going to be like that anywhere. Arts degrees are pretty straightforward no matter where you are. Of course, there's master's programs at Brock. It's essentially the same syllabus across the board, though. I did an honors BA. I majored in labor studies. I minored in classical history. I wanted to do something with that, but I'm getting into trades now.
Fire.
So I would say if you're an able-bodied young man or woman, for that matter, get into trades. It's where it's at. It's where its money's going to be. There's going to be work forever. So
For sure. Always. I feel like, since we talked about the bad side, the good side, it just makes sense we talk about the bad side. Sure. So what's something that you don't like about the city, though?
Something that I don't like is there is a lack of funding towards homelessness. I live right off of Niagara Street, and right down that area, right around the police station, there is a very real problem that's been threading itself throughout the city, and I feel like it's been talked about so often, but there's no actual action that's being taken by our city officials, by politicians and the government, and it's really disheartening to see, because it's just one thing happens and you're on the street, and that's unfortunately the point that we're at right now, especially with the price of housing. I live with roommates and I pay $750 for one room, and I live with 3 people, and as someone who is in their early 20s and I'm really trying to establish myself in my career, it's really difficult to know that I could be one paycheck away from being someone who is also on the street. So it also creates a sense of understanding and empathy that you have when you see people that are really struggling, and it's something needs to be done about it, and I really wish that there was more action that could be taken, but unfortunately they're just the way that things are, they're inflating right now, with groceries, with housing. It's not really applicable for civilians to assist in that. So it's really up to our city officials, and they're turning a blind eye, and it's just disheartening to see. So I wish there was more we could do in that way. I wish there was more ways that we could support local and small businesses, but it's not up to us right now. So yeah.
Wow, you said what, 700 and what again?
$750 for one room.
That's insane. With 3 roommates, by the way. That means you guys all sharing. You guys spend the money together, right?
Yeah.
Wow, we still a lot.
We share kitchen, and we share laundry facilities and everything like that. So that's really the only common area that we have. And then other than that, it's just just us living there. And it's not a huge space. And it's a lot. It's a lot for a task of someone, especially. When you have students who are going to Brock and trying to pay their way through university, and they have to pay their schooling fees, and then they also have to pay rent on top of that. There's not really a lot of space for accommodation there.
With everything you guys just said, who will you guys be voting for this upcoming election in 2025?
I'm voting conservative. I'm voting for Pierre Poilievre. I've come from a conservative household. This is the thing. I agree with conservative economic policy. I'm extremely liberal when it comes to the social issues. Like, I have no problem what you do with your body, if you're gay, if anything like that. You have every right to those civil liberties. But I believe in bettering the community in an economic aspect. I'm tired of being taxed eccentrically. I want better government spending, smaller governments. So I'm conservative in that respect. My first year at university was politics. I switched over from poli-sci to labor studies my second year just because I wasn't as politically inclined. But as I've gotten older and I've seen how the community's changed and this country as a whole, I think we should give someone else a shot in the federal election. And you know, it's been a long time since we've had Trudeau in office, and I'd like to see a change. You know, it's for better, for worse. I'd like to think for better. I like the policies that are coming forward from Pierre, and you know, I'd like to see the best for Canada in the future. So, with that being said, I think Canada's got a bright future. So,
Would you say with Pierre, right?
with Pierre, yeah, I think in general, if you know we utilize what we have here as a country, I'd like to think that we should lean heavy on what we do have here, i.e. natural resources, but that's another discussion for...
Before I get to you real quick, I have another question. I want to add on something to that. There's a saying that Pierre Poilievre says is axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime, bring it home. What's your take on that?
I think that's well-rounded. You know, it deals with a lot of points that I just touched on. For example, large taxation, housing crisis. I think another issue that we have in this country is obviously drug use, and especially I was going to add on to some of the downfalls of Canada, but the open-air drug policies. Like, I understand that people are going to get high and people are going to use drugs. Like, I'm no saint myself, but with that being said, I hate walking by playgrounds or places like this right here, and just people are just using drugs on the sidewalk. Like, I thought that was illegal, you know. Like, I thought that could get you arrested, but and you know what? Jail isn't necessarily the answer. I'd like to see people get the help that they deserve and that they need.
I like that.
So.
And Megan, what about you, my friend? Remember, Megan, we'll be coming back to her later on in the video. Who will you be voting for this upcoming election in 2025?
Sorry, I'm not no English.
Let's say if you could vote, who would you vote for between Justin Trudeau or Pierre Poilievre? Or even the NDP?
Justin Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau?
Yeah.
Who will you be voting for in 2025?
2025.
Yes.
I haven't really made up my mind yet, so I can't really say, you know.
You can't really say?
Yes, exactly. I can't really say who I'm going to vote for.
Is there anyone that you're leaning towards a bit?
Well, just like I said, I haven't made up my mind yet.
Yeah.
You know, when we get to the bridge, we'll know how to cross it. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Yeah, take care.
My name's Jason.
Jason? Dimani.
Nice to meet you.
All right, Jason, as you're saying, you know, we know that Canada has changed a lot. And how has that affected this small city right here? I would say small city, but in general, how has that affected St. Catharines?
It's good, and it's like $15 for.
It's affected it negatively, that's for sure. Like, it's becoming tougher and tougher to run a business, small business specifically.
Whenever there's one of those, I'll just use it, grab one.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's it's like the homeless problem in this city is fucking horrendous. Like, you know, we have an open door. Like, we're, you know, after COVID, a lot of tattoo shops and businesses in general became like closed door, right? Like, you had to knock on the door to come in and stuff. We don't want to do that shit. We want to have the door open. We want to be welcoming. We want people to feel comfortable coming in here and whatnot. But it's like, it's difficult. You got people coming in here that should not be around the general fucking public, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, you know, today we had, I think, a number of people. I know one for sure that came in here, and it was like the woman I was tattooing had her you know, some of her belongings sitting here, and she told me to stop tattooing so that she could grab it, because the person that walked in here would have just fucking probably taken it. You know, and it's like, how are we supposed to run a business? How are we supposed to have people feel comfortable coming in here when you're dealing with that kind of shit every day? You know, it's tough. You know, people don't, I know people in the area that have clients tell them that they won't even go to the shop anymore because they don't feel comfortable. Like, it's they know that this downtown area is becoming worse and worse. You know, you know, I'm a grown man. I don't feel that uncomfortable walking around anywhere. But you know, I think about, you know, the 21-year-old girl walking downtown. It's fucking dangerous out there, man. Like it's, you know, it's not safe out here, man.
And what do you think has caused for things to be unstable in the city?
A liberal government.
And why do you say that?
That's a tattoo, I think maybe if you're not.
What's your take on them?
How much time do you got? It's I don't know, man. Like it's just they're too soft on crime. That's the problem, you know. It's like if you have people openly, like with the woman next door who you guys were here for, like, dude, she came out the other day and she goes to see that fucking crack pipe on the ground, so somebody was smoking crack outside of a fucking business. It's like, dude, go walk down any street. I just walked over to grab a fucking tea in front of the gym, Fulton's Fitness, that just closed down. There's a guy there laying on his back looking like a newborn baby, man. His feet are in the air. He's screaming and shit. It's like, who the fuck would want to open a business amongst this shit? You know, like imagine you're going to look at spots. You want to open a small business, and you're driving down down the fucking downtown core, you know, and you see people like out of their mind on drugs on Monday at 4:00 in the afternoon. It's like, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, what you tell me, man, what's the problem? Like, I know it wasn't always like this,
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
if you're like super busy and motivated.
Would you say that our criminal justice system is broken?
Probably. I'm not too educated when it comes to criminal justice, but I know that, like, you know, there should be some type of consequences to openly doing drugs, you know, and the people, we all know, like, who the people are that are pushing them. We know, you know, and we talk to the police. The police say they're instructed to do nothing. You know, like, we all knew, like, there's police that come in here. I've talked to police. You know, I've seen the police sitting in parking lots watching half of this shit go down. Yeah, man, dude, go to the Big B, or the Busy B, Big B, whatever it is on Geneva there. Go over there, man, any night. There's cops sitting there, man. They're watching this shit happen. They're watching all this stuff happen, and it's like, you need to set an example. You need to make people. You need to have people fear the consequences. They're not scared, man. Dude, you have crackheads walking in here and fucking screaming and shit. It's like, they don't care, man. What happens? You call the cops, you say this guy's disrupting our business. They don't even come, man. They don't even give that guy a slap on the wrist. So it's like, there's no incentive for people to straighten out, you know, and yeah, I think that's probably part of the problem, but it's like, it's a huge problem now. I don't know if there's a simple solution. So yeah.
And how does that make you feel that, you know, the cops are not really, I wouldn't say not doing their job, but you're not the first person that have actually said what you just said. I've actually spoken to other people that are saying that, like, the police officers, it's as if they don't do their job no more. For an example, like in Toronto, I'm pretty sure you heard about the car theft. Well, I heard about that's really big, just in general in Canada. And then I'm pretty sure you've seen on the news when the chief of Toronto, the police, was saying that at this point, just leave your keys in front of the porch. If they're breaking in, just kind of just give it to them, allow it for it to happen. And, you know, and then how does that make you feel as a Canadian?
Booking wise,
I don't know. It's confusing. It just makes you feel confused, I think. You know, it's like it's like they want these problems to happen. They want people to feel helpless. They don't want people to defend themselves, you know? So it's like, as confusing as it is, at the same time, it makes perfect sense. You know, you have people just roll over and they don't want to defend themselves. They want to hear you're gonna break all the rules. You know, and I'm not going to be able to defend myself. If I defend myself, I'm going to get in more trouble than you are. So, you know, it's like, it makes perfect sense, actually. I take that back. It's not confusing. It makes perfect sense what they're trying to do. Trying to just make people completely complacent and okay with these problems.
Now, with everything you just said, who will you be voting for with the upcoming election in 2025?
I prefer not to say. That's, you know what, and then the reason why is because you know, that's old school. We're not supposed to talk about who we're voting for. You know, and it's like everything from the past seems to have been done with a little bit more class than things today, where people want to come out and talk about who they're going to vote for and shit. It's like, save that for yourself and your close friends if you want to talk about it. To go publicly and talk about who you're voting for. It's like, you know, it's like, I'm not trying to be polarizing. I don't want maybe somebody's watching this and they want to get tattooed by me, and then they're like, oh, this guy's going to go and vote for that guy. I don't know. I'd rather you have no fucking clue who I'm voting for. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. And if you don't mind me asking this, what do you think about, you know, the Liberals, Conservative, NDP, all those parties?
They all suck.
They all suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's your take on Justin Trudeau? If you want me adding that as well.
No comment. You know, I think everybody feels the same way. I'll put it to you this way. I've never heard anyone say they like him. You know, I think the whole thing's probably fake, and you know, I think the whole thing's just bought and paid, and you know, our votes don't really matter. So, you know, I think it's just business as usual, and yeah, I don't think voting really matters that much.
5 minutes away
And what about here?
I live on Queenston, across from Northern Hospital.
They're all politicians, man. That's the bottom line. Like, they're gonna, you know, it's like Jerry Seinfeld said, they're not loyal to parties, they're loyal to laundry. It's like a sports team, right? It's like Matt Sundin plays on Toronto Maple Leafs, all the people in Toronto love him. He goes to Vancouver, they're like, fuck that guy. It's the same thing as politics, man. It's like, pay attention to what goes on. These politicians vote for one thing, and then as soon as the script is flipped, they're voting for the exact opposite thing. You know what I mean? These politicians are all scam artists anyway. Like I don't think, I wouldn't trust any of them. And on top of that, like, we think these people are for us, man. If you got too close to one of those guys, they'd have you fucking, you know, they'd do shit to you. Like, they're not for the people, man. Like, I don't believe anything these guys say, man. They're career politicians. They made all their fucking money in politics. What, like, I have no thoughts about those people. They're not working class people. They don't give a fuck about business. They're out here talking about small business and this and that. They don't support small fucking businesses. They're part of these corporations, man. Every last one of them. Even the guys that the people on the right say, oh, he's the fucking second coming of Christ. Or the guys on the left, or the NDP, or whatever the fuck you want to say, man. They're all scam artists, career politicians. So, you know, I wish that the government would just shrink and they'd leave us the fuck alone. And, you know, then we wouldn't have to pay all these crazy high taxes to put these people up in these fucking nice houses and all this shit, you know? That's what I want. I think that's what every country wants. Smaller government. I don't care what party it is. Just have it smaller and have it leave us the fuck alone. You know?
Psst, psst. Hey, you. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. Not you. The one in the back. Yeah, you. You still haven't subscribed yet. I know you thought about clicking that button. Just click it. Le petit bouton, tu vois? Descends. Voilà. Click it. Click it, the little buttons. Yep, there you go. If you just subscribe, congrats. You just became part of the community. Ladies and gentlemen, I usually don't like doing this. I don't like begging people to, you know, subscribe or be a part of this journey that I'm on. But to those who are new, let me inform you guys. You guys missed a couple steps. I'm actually currently doing a tour in Ontario right now, going from city to city and town to town, just talking with the local Canadians, just like in this video, as you're seeing, literally just like this. And I'm working hard, I'm gonna be honest. I'm working hard, and I feel like our community can grow bigger because we've been averaging. I mean, clearly you guys like the videos, I know, because the numbers don't lie. We average up to like 30,000 to 40,000 views per video, and that's insane. And don't get me wrong, a lot of you guys like the video, which is crazy because we're also averaging up to 1,000 likes per each video, and that's huge on YouTube. And I feel like the one thing you guys are forgetting to do is that once you like the video, you forget to slide over and click subscribe. So ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy the type of content I do, just subscribe, support a fellow youngin. I don't like being cocky or anything, but do you really see a youngin doing what I'm doing? I'm not saying most kids in my generation don't care about what's going on in this world, but I just want to step up and make a change. And if you really enjoy what I'm doing and you want to support, and the best way to do that is by you just subscribing, join the community, be a part of this journey with me. Because my biggest goal is not only to be in Ontario alone, I'm actually trying to go from province to province, doing these types of videos, and that's only possible with each one of you guys that subscribe and join this journey with me. So once again, if you want to support me with what I'm doing, please subscribe, join the community, and yeah, that's all I gotta say. Especially to my Canadians watching, you guys should be subscribed. You should be, and yes, you should be. No other options, you should be. Think about it. Do you see anyone else doing what I'm doing? And I'm pretty sure we live in a world today where the media doesn't really show the truth. And my goal on this journey is to show the truth. But anyways, enough with the beggar. But yeah, back to the video.
I'm not gonna say that I really support Pierre or Trudeau. I'm not a really big fan of any politician, so to speak. I will be voting Green Party. So I know that a lot of people will really kind of see that as a throwaway vote. They usually don't get a lot of numbers. But what's been really apparent to me this year is the the unfed plans of Pierre's policy in regards to environmentalism. We've seen a lot of flooding even just recently in BC and Vancouver, and there's a lot of issues that have been going on. We've had hurricanes that have come up near Florida. We had a hurricane, I believe, in Barrie, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just been a pitiful downfall, really, and lack of action towards a climate crisis, and things are only ever going to get worse. And I think that before we can really tackle all of these issues, we need to make sure that we're going to be around for the next 5-10 years. So I don't really trust anything that Pierre or Trudeau have to say. They're kind of like the two opposing heads, the main argumenters that are going into this election. And they're all talk. I've never heard any of them say what they're actually going to do in regards to taking steps towards executing these plans. They have concepts of a plan. They don't have actual things that they're going to do. So I also don't want to vote for Pierre specifically because he wants to make abortion illegal. So as someone who, owns a uterus, that's not really in line with my well-being. So that was immediately an axe for me in that situation. And Trudeau's just fucked all this shit up. So even though I am a very liberal person in my personal beliefs, I don't think that he stands for what true liberalism really is. So I will be voting green in the upcoming election.
Would you say that the Liberals are losing their faith with Justin Trudeau? Because we see that the Liberals want him to resign now. What's your take on that?
I think
approval's down huge, right? Like it's only like what 60-something% or
something like that.
Yeah. I think it's for the best. It's been a long time. If your own party's telling you to step down, and I saw recently Singh and they've cut ties.
Yeah, they cut ties. Yeah.
So that's huge. I mean, that's a third of their seats. So it's going to be a big issue.
And on top of that, we've seen they lost a by-election in Toronto for the very first time in 3 decades, and that's 30 years since 1993. And on top of that, the NDP, they also dropped the support for them, so that's huge. Now we weren't around. Yeah, 30 years. Liberals just been, hey. But anyways, that's all I gotta say. Nice meeting you guys once again. Yeah. Nice. Are you into politics?
Far from it,
Far from it? Why? Why are you far from it?
because we have corrupt politicians. That's why.
Yeah, what made you have that mindset? What made
Because
you
they
change your
promise
view on them?
things once they get elected, they just don't do anything.
They don't do anything? In your opinion, where do you think we're heading as a country with the way things have changed?
Waiting for Poilievre to be elected and change things around.
You think Pierre Poilievre can make a change for this country?
I absolutely do.
Yeah, and what do you think would be the first thing that he would change for this country?
Immigration.
Immigration? Well,
Absolutely.
Why do you say immigration?
Well, there are many, many aspects to it. So,
Do you think that there's too many people coming to the country?
no, never. The country is big enough to accommodate more and more and more people.
What's a message you have for the people who are thinking about voting for Justin Trudeau to get them to vote for Pierre Poilievre?
I don't have any message, actually.
No message?
No.
All right. Thank you.
I gotta go.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Yeah, much love. And Lucas, what's your take with the way things are going on in our country?
I mean, everything's kind of uncertain, obviously, especially with housing, how it is, and also more so just kind of like the economic instability of everything. But I think considering that, people seem aware and woke in this case, and regardless of opinion, changes can be made.
Yeah.
So hopefully, it moves for the better, right?
Yeah. What's your thought on inflation?
I mean, I really kind of think that inflation is kind of out of our control. It's kind of natural causes, such as like the Suez Canal a couple of years ago that kind of led to a whole lot of shipping shortages. It kind of just is a whole spider and chain effect that is kind of out of our control within the most of our abilities, right? So definitely hurts, and it would be nice to have inflation not be a thing, but in the realistic state, it's not like that, right? So kind of just how it is.
In your opinion, I have a personal question.
Yeah.
What's your take on the average Canadian nowadays? Coming from a young man, I can tell you a young guy not being able to get a job. What's your take on that? How does that make you feel as a young Canadian?
It's frustrating. Coming out of school, you kind of have these big hopes and aspirations, right? That you want to try and make a change immediately, and obviously that's just not how it is. Everyone might have their own opinion, whether that's some kind of maybe nepotism that's coming in, and the right person's not getting the right pick, and after everyone might have their own biased opinion, right? Where that's just how it is. But really, you got to make your own choices, right? If you don't get one opportunity, consider something outside the box. I mean, I know from my experience that I went to school for sport management. I love to work in sport, but then my opinion has changed, right? And that lifestyle doesn't really fit right now. I kind of want a 9 to 5, so I'm happy with that, right? So people can see it for what they want. It's really about making the most of your opportunities.
Now, with everything you just said, who do you think is the right person to step into office and make a change for this country?
Kind of like how I was saying with inflation, it's just kind of like it's going to be the changes regardless of what happens. It's just the way that life's going to go. In terms of if it's going to be Trudeau, Poilievre, or someone else, I don't really know, because everyone has their own ideas. But then, I kind of don't really see politicians making their statements factual. It's kind of just like that hook to get people in. It's really all about making action. So whether it's you've seen 8 years of Trudeau or something like that, and some people may see a lack of action, some people may have seen that he's fulfilled his promises, that it could go the way it is, but some people also might think it's time for a change. I'm kind of split right now. I don't really know what to really think, especially going from a student to a young professional now. I kind of need to do my own research on that. But hopefully that the changes that are going to be made is right for the Canadians and not just individual interests. You know what I mean?
Would you say that it's voting in between of two of less evils?
I mean, both sides right now kind of seem to have like their really own split agendas in terms of, on the conservative side, removing the carbon tax and trying to make it cheaper for the Canadians in their own ways, such as cutting social programs, whereas Liberals might want to continue with the way that things are going. So lesser of two evils, I'm not sure. It's just more so people's own opinion. For my own personal opinion, I just think that with the Liberal Party, how they've been in power on the federal basis, they've kind of done what they've said, not to the fullest degree, obviously, but then with the Conservatives on the provincial side, Doug Ford's doing what he said. So it's really just all about a fulfillment basis, not so much the lesser of two evils. I mean, if you're conservative, you're going to think that the Liberals are evil and vice versa, right? So it all just depends.
And what do you think about the NDP?
NDP, I voted for them last election. I really liked what they kind of stood for. They kind of like had more of a for the people type basis. But then nowadays, from what I've seen, I haven't done too much research on this upcoming election on their stances. That it's just a lot of the programs and everything that they want to implement. I don't really see how it would be so effective, just because it's going to have a lot to cut with raising inflation. The money just doesn't seem to work with how expensive everything is and the additives that they want on, like something has to give. I don't really know how to kind of gauge that, but then again, that's just my own lack of understanding on that part.
Earlier you mentioned that you got to do more research between Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre. So my question for you is, based off of the things that you have seen on social media, who do you think has more senses?
I mean, it's really tough because it really all depends on like the gauge of the social media side that you're on. If you're on a very like conservative side, then if you're going to see people really promoting the Conservatives, and vice versa with the Liberals. From what I've seen, it seems that Conservatives aren't really understanding and like proactively listening. It's just more of a reacting with like they kind of have like their own set words that they want to say, and regardless of what the response is, they're going to say it, right? It's not the proactive listening. So in terms of that and what I've seen come out of Parliament, I don't really see it being as effective for a conversation like this, right? It's not back and forth. They're kind of just like waiting and response. So it's kind of frustrating on that sense, but who knows, once again, power, if they'll actually respond,
Good point. Since we're already talking about, both of them, so what's your take on Justin Trudeau? What do you think about him?
With Trudeau, it's an interesting conversation how people have so many different stances on it, and especially with what happened with the convoy back, throughout COVID and whatnot, and then just 6 or 8 years of like, many people say inaction. It may be time for a change in terms of just getting new eyes and new sense, especially kind of the scandals that's going on with the Liberal government. But then again, they also have done some good things where like they kind of uphold traditional like Canadian values. So I'm really kind of stuck in the middle right now, so I don't really know what to think on, on such a critical level.
Yeah, no worries. And now It just makes sense. We talk about Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah.
What's your take on him?
Poilievre is very rash, in my opinion. You know, he actually did an interview maybe a year ago in Niagara Falls after he was addressing the housing crisis, and he called a resident's house a shack. And after, it's just more so, I understand he wants to be rash to try and really drill the point in that, you know, housing is wrong.
Yeah.
Goes about it the wrong way. And then there's also been some times where, you know, there's some debate in Parliament, and he's just attacking and not really giving definitive points on what he will do to fix it. It's more so just thrashing what Liberals. So I'm torn because, you know, change is always good. I mean, it's scary but good in a sense, but then I don't see actionable change from that side. So it's the uncertainty that's kind of frightening, you know?
What's your take on with the migrant crisis?
I mean, Canada has always been built on immigration. It's definitely needed, considering that I think it's been the last like 6 years or 4 years that it's grown 6 million in population. That's tough because when people come to Canada, you don't want to just bring them in and then just leave them as is.
Yeah.
You know, you want to have programs for them to become educated on finances and housing and jobs and social programs, right? And really trying to feel integrated and welcomed into the country. So was there maybe like too many too fast? Maybe, or but definitely where people say like, you know, focus on their own. I don't really see that because like, once again, Canada's kind of built on immigration, right? I mean, I'm from Irish descent, so if back in the 1800s, if Canada wasn't so welcoming, where would my family line and, you know, be, right? It doesn't make sense to try and close that sense off. That's what Canada's built on.
Well said. Some Canadians I've actually spoken to, they say that things kind of, you know, kind of getting like worse in Canada with on top of the migrant crisis going on.
Yeah.
That's causing inflation, housing, just everything. And do you think that the migrant play a huge part with the way things have turned in this country?
I mean, from a basic economic standpoint, it's a whole supply and demand. If you have X amount of houses and you bring in a whole bunch of migrants, there's not going to be enough, right? And it causes a crisis. And I'm sure like when you talk to some people, they might get passionate about it. And that's some recency bias, right? How they're going to say like, they're taking our jobs, they're taking our houses. And like, it's just the recent frustrations. But I mean, like, the way that I kind of see it is that like, when you have everything kind of play all in a factor, it's just like that lack of foundation where we don't have those programs to set people up, right? So with the upcoming election and the politicians, it would be nice to see a plan so then they can actually like form a change, right? Not just disallow immigration or not just build more housing, because then once again, a house, what happens, right? They may not have the financial understanding or just the different culture to really thrive into, you know, this different culture, right? So I think that would be the biggest thing, is that it's not so much like one thing needs to happen in terms of immigration or housing. It's like we need to establish some foundation if this is going to continue.
What's your take on our criminal justice system?
It's rough. I mean, I see that. I mean, if you walk around St. Catharines, you're gonna see a lot of homeless around, and there's even times where I like to get back. I don't like to see that that scenario. And like, there's a few guys that you'll see walking around here. Bought them food before, and I had a quick conversation, and they say like they can't get jobs because they don't have either IDs or they don't have, you know, or they have like a record that they can't get certain jobs, which makes sense. If you're working at a bank, you're not going to hire a robber, right? But like, and then again, you don't have like the systems to try and help rehabilitate. It's kind of just serving out a sentence. It's not rehabilitating them towards you know, a new life. I mean, and I don't have a record, so I don't know from my own experiences. I don't know too many, so that's just my perspective on it. It's like, it would just be nice to see, but then again, on the other side of that, it's all voluntary. You know, you can't put someone that has, you know, some kind of mental problems into rehabilitation if they don't want the help. So it's kind of a both mixed side, where there just needs to be removing the stigma of it and showing that like there is compassionate care out there for them, as long as the foundation of that care doesn't fall off on them, right? What's the point of giving someone some help? Just say we help them and let them go, right? So it's just gonna be this big mix of establishing groundwork and building up on that.
Well said, Lucas. That was perfect. That was well said. Thank you so much. That was literally it.
Thank you for the time.
And that is the end of the video, ladies and gentlemen. What do you guys think about St. Catharines? What do you guys think about the people's opinion? Can you guys relate to them? Anyways, if you made it to the end of the videos, of the video, I mean, sorry. Make sure you like this video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Trust me, you do not want to miss out for any future videos, my friend. And then who knows, I might be in your city soon. I'm just trying to, you know, let the Canadians know that we're in this together. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I want to show other Canadians that we're in this together. I know there's a lot of people that are watching from other provinces, which is crazy now. I would have never knew that. No, sorry, I would never imagine that in a few years I'll be people from different province. I literally get DMs, emails. People just show me so much love and respect. So to those that really support me on this journey that I'm on, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much. I see all the love and I see all the support. And to those who are new, trust me, you do not want to miss out.